Tom Brady, what's he going to do? For years, we speculated on Tom Brady's retirement. Max Kellerman said about 3 Super Bowls ago that Tom Brady would become a bum in short order. Well, Tom Brady didn't, and he's played, and he's looked as good as ever, led the NFL in passing. He's part of a phenomenal team, close to having probably the second greatest comeback that I've ever seen in the playoffs. And yeah, you can throw the Houston Oilers and the Buffalo Bills in there from back in the day as well. But 28-3, comes back in the Super Bowl. 27-3, comes back. And if it wasn't for Matt Stafford and Cooper Kupp, probably would be advancing potentially to the NFC Championship game. But after every season, you'd always hear Tom, and you hear him talk about accomplishments. People would ask him, winning the Super Bowl, what does it mean? What does it mean winning your second back-to-back? What does it mean winning the MVP, having this historic career, all this time with Belichick, all of these things? And he always said the same answer. Reflection is for when you're done. Nostalgia, when I'm done someday, I'll sit back and look at this and I'll reflect on everything. In the moment, Tom's here to grind. I played with Tom briefly. Guy works as hard as anybody, maybe harder. And as you get older, you have to put more and more work in, physical energy, emotional energy to keep your body sharp, your mind sharp, to make sure that you're able to go out and perform at the highest level. It's tough. It's physically demanding. And when you're in your 40s, my goodness, I can't even imagine how hard that would be. Well, for the first time afterwards, we listened to Tom Brady talk about after the season, sit down and talk about the decision of playing with his family. Talk about what that means, how he, is been playing for a long time, and he has to figure out what's fair to them. On his podcast, dropping references about, Kobe Bryant. You never know when's your last play. You never know when's your last day. You want to make sure you can enjoy some of that, enjoy the time you have left. That sounds like a guy who's being heavily reflective and heavily nostalgic. It's widely known Giselle wants him to be done. He said she cringes with every hit. He's got all the money in the world. He's won 7 Super Bowls. He's achieved more than any quarterback, any player in the NFL ever has. The thing that Tom's wrestling with is still is great. He knows there's still a little more in the tank physically. It takes a lot to get there, but does he still have it emotionally? Does he want to sit back ultimately and reflect, about being a dad? And, talk about that with his kids. Does he want to miss even more of his kids' practices? He'll miss stuff with his wife. People don't realize this. During football season, you don't get Thanksgiving. It's not really trick or treat with your kids. You can't have Halloween parties. You don't get, a chance, to go to Christmas parties, have that Thanksgiving dinner, the way that you'd like to, sit around, have a cocktail, watch football. You're playing in it or you're practicing. There's no Christmas Day with the kids and being able to enjoy it. Yeah, maybe you get a little sliver. You get, an hour or two to have Thanksgiving. Maybe your coach lets you wake up in the morning with your family and come in and practice in the afternoon. But it's still not the whole experience. There's no New Year's Eve, parties and time to reflect and enjoy your family and enjoy your wife. Bringing his family into the equation, talking about being satisfied. I think the Man in the Arena series this year, I think that was him kind of signaling the end. The Bucs are in a bad spot trying to be able to bring everybody back again. They're not going to be able to do it. And as sad as I am to see Tom go, I'm happy for him to be able to continue his life. He has given so much to the game. I'm pretty sure that he's done. And maybe he surprises all of us by coming back. But listening to him talk, this is the first time I've ever heard him been reflective and nostalgic at a time when he's making a decision about his future. And he always said before, the only time to be reflective and to be nostalgic is when you're done. So he'll take some time. I think he's going to talk about it. But for my money, I would say Tom Brady's gone. Unless he wants to have one final tour on a goodbye show. And I don't see that being Tom Brady's style. He's not coming back just to tip his cap and go around and give that final year. That's not what Tom Brady's ever been about. And I can't imagine him changing that this late into life. Said he wanted to play to 45. Well, he's knocking on the door. and he's achieved it. Tom, thank you very much if you are done, because I've appreciated playing against you, playing with you, and then ultimately watching you on both ends before I played and ultimately after, because gosh, he's been doing it for a heck of a long time.